Joseph Kent, who was the top counterterrorism official, resigned over the war in Iran, and it seems he may have been urging the president to reverse his course in the war in Iran.
Now, politically, Kent is the personification of Trump's core America First platform. He's mega MAGA. He's against American intervention overseas. He's against the US support for Ukraine. His time in the military and personal tragedy formed his views on forever wars. He's also been tied to white supremacist groups. His appointment as director of the National Counterterrorism Center was controversial among critics of Trump, of course. So that's the context. And those same Trump critics now find themselves aligned with him over the Iran war. So let's get into the key parts of the letter. First, this. He wrote, in June of 2025, Trump understood that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots. Then he claimed Trump was drawn into Iran by Israel. Early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. Then this echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States. And he said his first wife was killed in a war manufactured by Israel. She was in fact killed by an ISIS bomb. He clearly holds skeptical views of Israel, to say the very least. But does all this context invalidate his key point that Iran posed no imminent threat? That's the story here. Was there a threat, and how imminent was it?
You would have had a nuclear war in the Middle East and maybe beyond. I think it would have hit Europe.
That was the president this week. The problem is there has been no evidence produced to back up that claim. One final thought to all this, bringing it back to President Trump. Joe Kent, remember, was MAGA to his core with his views. And so I do think this letter should be an alarm bell for the president.
Now, according to a letter that was posted on X, the former National Counter Center director said that Iran posed no imminent threat to the U.S. and claimed that the administration started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. There was a response from the White House. They dismissed this letter, saying that the president had compelling evidence that Iran was going to attack the U.S. first.
The commander-in-chief and his administration had a very difficult decision to make. I don't know where Joe Kent is getting his information, but he wasn't in those briefings, clearly, because the Secretary of State, the Secretary of War, and everyone, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane, they had exquisite intelligence, and we understood that this was a serious moment for us. Had the president waited, I am personally convinced that we would have mass casualties of Americans, service members and others, and our installations would have been dramatically damaged. And so we had to, the president felt that he had to strike first to prevent those mass casualties.
I don't think the question of talking with Americans or negotiation with Americans once again would be on the table, because we have a very bitter experience of talking with Americans. After 3 rounds of negotiation, and after the American team in the negotiation, said itself that we made a big progress, still they decided to attack us. So I don't think, talking with Americans anymore would be, on our agenda anymore.
Now, Kent's letter addressed to Trump, he also alleged that high-ranking Israeli officials and influential U.S. journalists has sold information that led the president to undermine his America First platform. Well, this echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the U.S., and the letter continued to say that this was a lie. Will Kent's decision to resign and publicly state his discontentment with America's alliance with Israel and the pursuit of war with Iran, will that trickle to more of America, or do more people support the war with Iran and the alliance with Israel? There is definitely a spiritual aspect to this that I will likely talk about in a separate video, but let us know your thoughts regarding if more people are in alignment with the alliance of Israel and the war in Iran, or are more people wanting the war to end? That's it for now. This is Felicia L. signing off until next time. Bye-bye.